What is happening? Yep, we're definitely filming. What's happening? Mediocre people of YouTube. Where you at? So, I wanted to touch on, I've got some subscribers that we have really good conversations about politics and whatnot. And then there's people that get really irritated when I mention like Democrats and liberals and I pick on them. You guys know I always pick on liberals. I call you a bunch of communists because that's what you are. So I kind of want to explain why I feel that way. And this kind of goes back to about a week ago. I was talking with a buddy of mine about the Constitution. And he had made a statement. He said they were, because I was saying, how great, how smart these fucking guys were, And he had made a statement. He said they were libertarians to their core. And that really struck me because he was absolutely right. I mean, the men who wrote our Constitution, that's what they were. They were libertarians to their core. And, politics-wise, I identify more with the libertarian side than anything, I would think. I have a lot of beliefs that people would say those are like libertarian beliefs, such as I think, even though I don't use drugs, I don't even drink alcohol, I think that all drugs should be legalized. And I have a good argument for that. And I don't know, I think I may have mentioned it in a past video, but, a big part of that argument, the reason I think that all drugs should be legal is because of natural selection. And with all legalized drugs, eventually a huge part of the human race will just cease to exist. And in the end, that will make us a much stronger human race. But I don't really want to get into that right now. What I want to get into is why I always pick on you Democrats, liberals. And I don't think a person can have the kind of views that I have about Democrats and liberals without having identified politically with them at one point. That's right. There was a time in my life when I was young and dumb, as opposed to old and dumb, that the Democratic Party and the liberals was very attractive for me. Because you're, especially when you're young. When you're older, you should know better. But when you're young and you're starting your life and it's tough and you're trying to make the rent payment and the gas payment and the electric payment, and you're working, at a job a little bit more than minimum wage, you're just making ends meet, and you start to pay attention to politicians and whatnot, and you start to notice that some of these politicians are speaking to you. And they're like, we're going to take care of you. It's not right that you're not making enough money to make ends meet. It's not right that you have to work so hard. That's very attractive to younger people, It's they always go after minorities. And they say, oh, well, you're oppressed, because you're a minority, And they use that stuff. And frankly, I personally believe that, racism and all that dumb shit in the United States is a thing of the past. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not fucking stupid. I do know that it does exist in certain small areas and whatnot. But if you're a minority, the Democrats are always like, well, hey, we love you. We're gonna help you because you're oppressed. And for the most part, you're not. I'm not going to go and make some statement that oppression doesn't exist in our society, because obviously it does. But for the most part, there's not a lot of oppression going on these days unless you believe you're oppressed for some reason. That's what the Civil War was about. It was about oppression. Ridding ourselves of oppression. These days, in 2019, oh my God, I was thinking of 2017 because the pontoon is a 2017 model. In 2019, there's not a lot of oppression going on in the United States. Unless you believe you're oppressed. And a lot of people oppress themselves because of the Democratic Party. When Barack Obama was president, it was such a great moment because we finally got past that whole, we have our first African American president. Well, Barack Obama did not get where he was because he was oppressed. He got where he was because he was smart. He became the president of the United States. But when he became president, the bad part about it was that because he was black, news outlets like MSNBC and all that, they were like, well, he's black, so he's oppressed. And if you were a white person and you critiqued anything that Barack Hussein Obama did, you were immediately labeled a racist and written off. And I think having our first African American president actually made things worse as far as the whole race thing goes. Because you were no longer allowed to critique the President of the United States, who should be critiqued constantly. But that wasn't allowed for 8 years. As I was saying before, there was a time in my life where I identified with the Democrat and liberal side of things. And the reason I pick on you Democrats and liberals is because I suppose there's a little anger inside of me because I found out how badly I was being manipulated by the Democrats. Do you guys get what I'm saying here, I hope? The Democrats manipulate their constituents into believing that they need the government. They want people who are dependent on them. And then once they've got you, they don't give a shit about you. Like the state of California, the once great state of California, and the LA liberals and all that, the Democrats don't give a shit because they've already got you. That's why there's a huge homeless problem problem and a massive homeless and drug problem in the San Francisco area. There's a huge homeless problem in the Los Angeles area right now. Because the Democrats don't give a shit, because they've already got them. They don't need them anymore. They know they're going to get their vote no matter what. The Democrats and liberals in the United States are the biggest cause of any racism, segregation, and oppression that we have left. It's actually caused by the Democratic Party. The Republicans don't give a shit about race, you know, and the Republicans aren't perfect, and that's why I don't identify with the Republicans either. As I've said many, many times before, you know, I pride myself on trying to be a true independent. Although I know me, and you know, I do lean conservative, and like I say, I have what a lot of people would call libertarian viewpoints. So I don't like labeling myself, because there's things that the Democratic Party has come up with that I agreed with, just like, you know, on the other side of the aisle, the Republicans, there's things I agree with and there's things I don't. However, the conservatives in this country, conservatives in this country do not give a shit what color you are. They're interested in creating opportunity for people to succeed and make this country even better. The difference between the United States and every other country in the world is our Constitution. The United States Constitution has created the greatest economy the world has ever seen. Hands down, ain't no conversation. We've become what the world knows is the greatest country in the world. And our country's only a couple of 100 years old, man. The conservative side of politics in this country is interested in creating opportunity for everyone. They don't even talk about oppression, because we're not going to oppress anybody. They don't give a shit what race you are, what color you are. It's about creating opportunity for everyone so that our country can succeed as a whole. The Democrat side of things, they want people who are dependent, who have dependent tendencies, dependent on drugs, dependent on the government. That's why, you know, they've made healthcare, you know, such a big issue in the media, which healthcare is a big issue. And the conservatives are working on it. And I do believe that the government needs to get involved in healthcare somehow in this country. I don't know how that's going to work. But I think that the government is probably going to have to get involved in some way. Repealing Obamacare is the right thing to do, only because the implementation of Obamacare was unconstitutional from the get-go. And I don't even know why they really call it Obamacare, because it wasn't what Obama wanted. Obama wanted to offer the citizens of the United States the opportunity to purchase the same health care coverage Congress and Senate members have at the same low prices. That's all he wanted to do. People like Nancy Pelosi and the Democratic machine turned it into, no, we're going to shove this down everyone's throat, and if you don't buy it, you're going to pay a penalty. Well, right there, that's unconstitutional. So I believe that the repeal of Obamacare is the right thing to do. I think it's unfortunate, because I believe it was a start. Maybe not in the right direction, but at least it was a start as far as healthcare is concerned. However, by law, it was unconstitutional and it needs to be repealed. And it pretty much is for the most part right now. As far as people who need government's help, this country and our politicians, they decided long ago that it's a good idea to help people who cannot help themselves, and that will be paid for by, people, a little bit of your taxes will go to helping people who cannot help themselves. Unfortunately, that system has been abused for decades. The welfare system and the disability system has been abused and abused and abused and abused, and something needs to change. Living in the Detroit area, there's neighborhoods that I go to where a buddy of mine lives on that street, and pretty much everybody on that street is on welfare or disability in one form or the other. And a lot of them have regular jobs as well, and they're perfectly fine. They function. They're not like a person who is paralyzed from the neck down, who cannot help themselves. They're not like that. They go and say, "Oh, my back hurts. I can't work. I need welfare." And unfortunately, that takes away from a person who is paralyzed from the neck down and cannot fend for themselves. It takes away their benefits, and then they don't get taken care of. So abuse of the system sucks. And I know I'm getting off on another conversation here, but it just came out. So yeah, I realized at one point in my 20s that these same people who were claiming that they were going to help me, all they were doing was manipulating me for my vote and my money. And these are the same people who are multi-millionaires. Nancy Pelosi, Hillary Clinton. These people are multi-millionaires, and yet they're the ones trying to help people who are oppressed. And then they go and take away and they beg for money to help run their campaign from the same people that they know those people don't have the money to give. And then once they got your vote, they shit you out. Like I said, look at the state of California. The Democrats don't care about the state of California because they already have it. So yeah, being manipulated by them. And now I laugh about it. And every time I see a liberal, now there's a few of my subscribers who are Democrats, but they actually have their heads screwed on, and they, the Democratic Party didn't used to be what it is right now. It was a different party, and there's people that I talk to here on YouTube who are Democrats, but they have their heads screwed on, like I said. But most of the liberals and stuff that they get pissy with me in the comments and whatnot, I laugh because I know you guys are being manipulated so badly. And it's kind of like pretty much all conservatives laugh at you guys, because you just haven't figured it out yet. The party you're voting for, who claims to want to take care of minorities and people who are oppressed, is the same party that has done nothing for minorities and people who are oppressed. Ever. Name one minority that the Democratic Party has helped. party that cares about these people has a vested interest in keeping alive things like racism. Because if they don't keep things like that alive, they have no party anymore. So that's why I pick on you guys, and that's why I laugh at you guys. I hope one day you'll see, you know, how manipulated you're being by the Democratic Party. Now, I'm not letting you Republicans off the hook here, because, you know, I've watched Republicans do a lot of fucking stupid shit too. You know, there's wackos on both sides of the aisle. There is extremism on both sides of the aisle. But in general, right now, I think the conservative side of politics is where you want to be, as far as when you vote, things like that. Because these Democrats and liberals, and then there's the whole Bernie Sanders thing. You know, Bernie Sanders is a socialist. He doesn't even believe in the same principles that have made a country that's a couple of hundred years old the greatest country in the world, with the greatest economy in the world. Bernie Sanders doesn't hold that belief system. And I know some of you guys are going to say, well, he's a democratic socialist. That's what he calls himself now, but look back decades ago what he called himself. I mean, it's a joke, really. I mean, all of them. Nancy Pelosi, Nancy Pelosi's irritating because she's just been there way too long. She's, you know, at one point in her life, she had her head screwed on pretty good, but at this point, I mean, she just needs to allow her constituents to move on. She's not doing anything good she's not doing good even for herself, holding office. So that's what I got for you. That's why I pick on you, liberals, and I laugh at you, because you just don't get it. You don't see it. So I'm on my drive back to the Detroit area after spending a couple of days in northern Michigan. It was fantastic, and it was a good thing. Thank all you guys for came out and got on the asses of some dumb fucking people in the comments section of my other video. I gotta take down the last one I did too. Also, I posted up the very last video Buds131 did, and I think that's pretty much the one that got him terminated from YouTube. He was pretty pissed off at this guy, but if you're into Don Shipley and the old Buds131 channel, you can go to his website, extremesealexperience.com, and for $10 you can get all his content. And then you can just let it go, and then maybe come back in a couple of months, pay another $10, or you can just pay $10 a month and just constantly have his content. Funny fucking guy, really. Him and his wife are hilarious. Anyway, I don't want to make this video too long, because I've got like a 2-hour drive ahead of me at least still, and I don't want to make a 2-hour video, so I'm going to say peace out.